Welcome back to At Home with the Woots. I'm here today to discuss some new curriculum choices that we're making for the 2025-2026 school year. This school year, I will have an 8th grader and a 5th grader. So it's our last year of middle school for our oldest and our last year of elementary school for our youngest, which is a really big year for us. So I wanted to make sure that I intentionally planned the year to prepare them for the next steps, middle school for my youngest and high school for my oldest. So I am trying some new things this year and sticking with some really solid choices that we've used before and absolutely loved. So I'm really excited to share with you guys what we picked this year. These videos, I'm going to release 2, one for the middle school curriculum and one for the elementary school curriculum, just because I think it's a lot and I think it's easier if I separate them. I'm going to keep the same intro for both videos. So if you watch one, you can just skip through until you start to see the materials and the books that you want to look at. I did also put out a short in regards to both curriculum choices for the kids this year. And so those are just like a real quick and dirty run through of what we're using this year. It didn't include everything just because some of the materials that I am using I hadn't received quite yet or hadn't started yet. So it didn't really encompass everything, whereas I give a more in-depth and thorough overview in these longer videos. At some point, I'm also going to put out a video about how we schedule our homeschool days, our homeschool year, what planner I'm using this year, and a couple other things like that. So I will probably put something like that out. But I have had a couple people reach out to me and ask for some in-depth looks at our curriculum. So I wanted to get that out there for everybody. So if you're interested, come on in, join us. This is going to be a real in-depth overview over what curriculum I'm using for which subject, if I'm using it for high school credit or not. And I'm going to go through all the things, electives, core classes, all that good stuff. And I'll even do a flip through of some of the books. So you'll get to see what the materials look like and all that. So you'll get a really good in-depth overview. If you have questions, always please just drop them below in a comment. I love to chat about this. So I am open to any questions and helping or supporting any homeschool families in any way that I can. So if you have questions, just let me know, or comments. If you're like, oh, we tried that, didn't like it, or it didn't work because of this, what do you think? I'd love to have a discussion. So I look forward to sharing with you what we're using this year, and stay tuned for more. Okay, I'm going to start by talking about math. This year, my 8th grader is going to be in algebra half, which is pre-algebra. So he's taking a pre-algebra course. I decided to put him in pre-algebra instead of just moving right into algebra 1, just because I feel very, very strongly, and honestly, this is one of the main reasons why we decided to homeschool, that in order to develop skills and have concrete capabilities to solve problems, you need to have a solid and firm foundation. And I think that going through with pre-algebra is the way to build that foundation. And I think that that's the most appropriate step. So this is not an honors course. This is not a high school credit, but this is what he's going to be doing for 8th grade. He just finished the Saxon 8-7 class, and so this is the next book. We actually have his entire high school plan for math, which will be Saxon Math with Nicole, the math lady. We love the way that she teaches, and so this is the book that we're going to be using. I will flip to the contents page. I don't even think they have a scope and sequence in here. No, it just dives right in. So it's all the lessons, just like every other Saxon is and laid out. So you do 5 lessons and then you have a test. So every 5 lessons there's an assessment of their skills. This did come with a test and a solutions manual as well, so he'll be able to complete that. And again, everything can be done on the Nicole the Math Lady website. So he does have access to that. These are the tests that they do. So just for example, like this is test 5, it's 20 problems. Yeah, that's it. And so then he goes through and answers all the questions for the tests. I have the manual so that I can grade his tests, but he gets graded online through Nicole the Math Lady. The book is very dry. So I almost didn't do Saxon because the books are really, really dry. They are like college textbooks. So it's just very, very basic. But my kids have excelled astronomically using this math curriculum. So we're gonna keep up with it. And so that is going to be the pre-algebra book. It does just do a nice review of like multiplying decimal numbers, reading and writing decimal numbers, area, exponents, fractions, and decimals before really getting into all of the algebra topics. And so order of operations, surface area, equation of a line, and then we're like really into some of the triangles, geometry. So we really do estimating roots, fraction bars, Roman numerals. So this is a really, honestly, this is a really solid curriculum. I have nothing but good things to say about Saxon Math. So that's what we are using for math. Okay, so now we're going to talk about our language arts. Everett is doing 3 language arts courses this year. So that's what his ELA credit is going to consist of. So he has writing, vocab, and grammar, and then he's also doing a literature class. So the lit survey that he's doing is through Redefining School, and that schedule comes out later, but it's a class that's going to go over oral traditions and women's literature, and they have assignments that they do weekly along with weekly reads, and then they meet twice a month, I believe, with the other students in the class to review what they've learned, meet with the teacher a little bit, and then have a lit survey, meaning they share their ideas and sample writings and things like that with one another. So that's what we're doing for that. For writing, we are going with IEW again because IEW is the best. So we talked to Mr. Pudawa at the convention, who is the teacher for IEW. And he suggested that we were thinking about going with one of the teacher teacher lists, basically writing courses. So essentially going through the advanced US history based writing. So we probably will do that next year, but this year I wanted him to still have one more year with Mr. Pudawa to kind of help us all to make sure we're on the right track in terms of structure and style. So what does IEW do? The focus is how to write, like the structure of writing, and then the style of writing, the stylistic techniques of writing, and how to make and create really well thought out writing pieces that will carry you into the future. So he is doing level 2C this year, which is high school level. So it's year 2 level C. He just finished year 2 level B. So we are just skipping year 3 level B, year 1 level C, and moving right into year 2 level C to do this. And then next year we will likely do a different IEW course. But we love Mr. Pudawa. We love his writing courses. They are very challenging. They are very fulfilling. My kids have a great sense of pride when they finish
their weekly writing pieces, and they love to share them with me, and we love to, you know, edit them together, go over them together, things like that. So we love IEW. So yay, Mr. Pudua. He's also doing Vocab Virtuoso by the Critical Thinking Company. This is very, very challenging vocabulary. He actually already started it a little bit. He was just like, I don't know, we were just deciding, let's try it out. But the vocab is wild. We have words like effervescent, mawkish, parsimonious, spurious, surreptitious, tantamount, truculent, and visceral. So a lot of like really advanced vocab, but I think it will be very challenging, but also eye-opening for Everett and getting him prepared for the SAT. So that is what we are doing for ELA, and I think that covers it. Okay, so for 8th grade science, we are actually doing 9th grade science. Everett excels. His strongest suits in school are history, language arts, and science. So we are bumping him up to a honors curriculum for this year. So he is doing 9th grade science and an advanced curriculum for 8th grade. So this will be a high school credit and an honors credit at that. If you've never used Apologia Science before, I just so highly recommend it. Yes, it is faith-based. It is not secular, but we absolutely love. I just absolutely love this curriculum. The thing that I really love is the way that it is laid out. So it lays everything out in modules. So there's module 1, and then it tells you everything that you do in a day. So the whole lesson plan is already done for you, which is really, really nice. So, you know, day 1, what's expected? He needs to read from the text. He's got a lot of reading to do on day 1, a lot. And then he has a corresponding video lesson, which is optional. I do purchase the video lessons because I think that it helps to enrich the learning. And then they'll complete an activity in their student notebook, which is this book, and the on your own questions. So this is the student notebook. I didn't bring the text out because it's just a science text. It is very colorful, but there is a lot of verbiage in there. So just be prepared for that. But then each module starts like this. It's also got a lot of writing. It reiterates what needs to be done. And then he has all these questions that he needs to write. So these are like, he can write examples, he needs to do definitions, answer some questions, and that's really it for the first day. Then he also has labs. So there is lab work that he does. Usually every week there's a lab. And so if you go to, these are just like samples for the kids so that they can see what they should be doing. But like module 1, this is the lab that he'll do, or experiment. I do purchase the online experiments, but I'm also doing a lab for him this year, so he will have the ability to do all the experiments at home as well. It tells the kids all of the materials they need, the procedure, any changes they need to write out, and then they go through and they can note any changes they made to the procedure, and then they fill out the data tables. And they write their conclusion. And then at the end, they do have the capability to write a formal lab report. And they tell you where you can write the formal lab report. But what they do is they take the information from the lab assignments that they've already completed, and then they put it into a formal lab report. But it's just really nice because it gets them in the mood, like the mode of writing these out, and completing a formal lab report like you would have to do at a university level. So it's nice that they have it structured for them, but then they also have the ability to write it out on their own and in their own style. So every module has 1 or 2 labs. You could see that module 1 had 2 labs and then the formal lab report. In order to make this an honors course, just as a little note, you do need to do like the going further. So at least this is what I have been told. Maybe you know differently. So if you do, please share. But you do have to do like the going further assignments, the on your own assignments, all the extra assignments that they have in here, like advanced concepts, things like that, you do have to complete in order to get that honors credit. So that is not a problem for Everett. He looks forward to doing everything in this book, and so he'll complete this physical science through Apologia this year. Okay, I'm going to talk about social studies next. I have tried using BJU once before. We're trying it again. I had a really hard time finding a high school level geography course, high school level social studies course that I liked. So we are using this. It has mixed reviews online, so if you want to read more about that, go ahead, check them out. But this is what we are choosing to use this year for Everett. And you never know, maybe I'll change. I've been known to do that. I like that it has a lesson plan overview, so it kind of goes through everything by chapter. It's a full year, and if you've never used BJU before, it is an honors curriculum because it does require a lot of the students. So if you are going to look at lesson 1, day 1, they are going to complete 2 activities and they're going to be reading. So they need to do a reading in the course textbook and then also complete 2 activities. This is going to be the 2 books that the kids use on a daily basis. So their text and then their activities book. The text is incredibly colorful. I do like the text, the way that it is laid out. It gives you a nice summary of what is going on in the chapter, thinking critically, terms to know, all that good stuff. And it, they read all of this, and then they do have activities in here. So like first day, they have to complete this activity using an atlas or Google Earth. And then the first day they also complete this activity about maps, which Everett is going to love this curriculum. He loves maps. He asks for maps every year for his birthday. So this is right up his alley. I am not worried about this at all. But this is a high school credit. This is a 9th grade curriculum, and it is an honors credit as well. So if you're using a weighted GPA, this will give you extra points for your GPA. Okay, moving into elective courses. This year we are doing Introduction to Logic and Informal Fallacies. Why am I doing this? I think logic courses are really, really key and important for teaching kids how to take tests, and especially how to think outside the box and logically work through problems and arguments and things like that. I didn't take this when I was in high school, but I don't even know if they offered it, but I wish that I would have. So the kids do have a text. It is very colorful, but there is a lot to read. All of the terms are already highlighted for you, which is really, really nice. This is a faith-based or biblically based curriculum, so there's a lot about the Bible in this curriculum, which is great because Everett is all about that. So that is the text, and then this is the teacher guide. Inside the teacher guide, it goes through the scope and sequence of what's due every single day. So this is a heavy curriculum as well. Day 1, they're going to read chapter 1, pages 5 through 6 in the workbook. So then they have all of these worksheets that they have to complete. So like this is the worksheet that needs to be done on day 3 and day 4, chapter 1 worksheet here. And then there will be a test as well. And then there are chapter 2 worksheets. So there is a final exam at the end. And then there is an answer key as well. It says it is 8th to 10th grade. We're using it in 9th, and it does count as a high school credit. Not an honors credit, but a high school credit. So the next elective that he is doing is going to be the study skills. It's a Victus study skills system. We'll see how it goes. What I'm gaining from like looking into it is it's really only like a 5-day course. So I'm going to have him do this one once a week. And then he's also going to be doing a PSAT, SAT prep course, like a college prep course. So that's what we're going to be doing. So he's got 10 lessons to do. This is the teacher workbook. It tells you exactly what you need to do, exactly how you need to teach the student, and then the students have their workbook. So what their personal objectives are, study habit checklist, learning your strengths, learning your own strength, suggested aids for your learning strengths. We've done a lot of this, but it'll be good to have like a refresher. And then telling what's your story, setting goals for the fall, for the spring, for the summer, talking about long-term goals versus short-term goals, things like that. We do that every year anyway, but it'll be good to like have it kind of in a booklet. And then how we get to reaching our goals. So time management, scheduling, organizing, before we begin to study, how do we study, how to be an active listener, note-taking and shorthand skills. So all of these are really skills that they can use now and then again in the future if they choose to pursue higher education, which is Everett's path at this point. That's what he would like to do. So I'm just trying to prepare him for that pathway so that the doors are open, just because that's what he wants to do. So we're working through some of this, which is some nice study skills, note-taking skills, goal-setting skills, and really getting on the path for that.
Thanks so much for joining me today to go over some curriculum and nerd out on curriculum content and books with me. I so appreciate you guys being here. And again, I welcome any conversation about any of the books or any of the curriculum we've used in the past or that we're using this year. I wish you all the best for this upcoming homeschool year. I know we're super excited to get started. Okay, I'm super excited to get started. We actually already started, and it's going well so far. The kids are, wishing they had a summer break, but we do school year round, so then they have nice long breaks other times when other kids are in school. So, the joys of making all the choices for the kids in the schooling. So we're having fun with it, and we hope that you guys do too with your homeschool year. I wish you nothing but the best. And thanks for joining. I will be back soon. Thanks. Bye.